You can't read the label from inside the jar. And that's the whole deal. That's the whole thing. Sometimes you need somebody to help you see the things you can't see. Hey squirrels, welcome to AVHD, where ADHD isn't some clinical diagnosis, it's just life. I'm AV, your always honest tour guide through this beautiful mess. Over here, we're not about fixing yourself. We're about figuring out how to actually enjoy your life as you are. So grab a snack and let's go. Today you are joining us for a live presentation of what a strategy call is. I will speak with full transparency and say that this isn't a full peek into what a strategy call looks like. It's really just a snippet because every strategy call is different for every person. That's kind of the point. You are different, your business is different, your life is different, what you find important is different, your values are different, and therefore the strategy of your business should absolutely reflect that. And I'm going to be straight with you because the invite for this and the promos said that we were doing like a whole dopamine, fuel your brain, fix your chemistry thing. And then I sat down with our guest, Eric Chessen, to record this, and it took us in a little bit of a different direction. So true to ADHD fashion, I'm going to stick on brand because a pivot is 100% a part of my brand. And that's the whole thing. That is strategy. You plan one thing, and then life does whatever it wants to do. And the move is to roll with it without losing the plot. That's the job, is to figure out how to roll with changes, pivots, external circumstances, and how to make the best of it and show up the best way you can for yourself and your business, no matter what. Okay. So here's what we're actually going to be seeing today. I'm going to show you clips from the real strategy session that I had with Eric Chessen, and you're going to see what happened. I'm showing you raw clips from our actual session. Of course, I am sharing with Eric's permission. Of course, he knows that I'm putting out this information, but it's totally unedited, and you just get to see how it works and how my process works and what it looks like to work with me. So how do you take somebody like Eric with 100 amazing ideas in their head and find the one idea that actually matters? So let's start by meeting Eric. This is just him doing his thing. And the question I asked him was, do I really have to exercise? And is it actually all that important? All right. So let's hear Eric.
The issues arise when we don't really have enough meaningfulness tied to one of those outcomes where we're like, yeah, I'd like to feel better, but going to the gym, I get a sense of overwhelm. And a lot of it is behavioral momentum, the rock rolling down the hill. Like you're pushing it up the hill, and then once it reaches that peak and gravity takes over it, it's a lot easier from a motivational perspective because it's, okay, I'm starting to do it. Now I'm doing it. Now it's consistent. Now it's just part of my routine. So the first thing that needs to happen is it needs to be tied to some type of meaningfulness. So, okay, I want to achieve this particular thing. So I'm going to start, and my motivation initially, because motivation is a very fleeting construct. I have a motivation enough that I'm going to go into the gym and it's going to suck. And I have an athlete who, and I had this just the other day, I'm onboarding a gentleman who's 25, profound autism. And so he has significant deficits in communication, both in productive or expressive language, and then in informational processing. So for him, having a visual schedule is a big deal. And that visual schedule, I discovered by session 2, needs to be very simple, very straightforward. Break, bathroom, exercise is it. Because I need to give him a framework for, hey, here's what's going on. You have a certain measure of autonomy here. I need to know so that I can be your guide here. The motivation piece is the start, but the sustainability is all just habit. It's all just consistency. It's going when you want to go. It's going when you don't want to go. It's just doing the thing, which is both like profound and just idiotic at the same time.
So that is Eric. That's Eric's why. He works in fitness with individuals who have autism, and he works with training physical trainers and parents to support fitness for people who are living with autism, specifically profound autism. He knows his stuff. And if you're here and you're watching, you also know your stuff in your own business. Okay. That's the coach. That's Eric Chessen. That's a guy who has been doing this for 20 years. And he can tell you exactly why your brain won't let you walk into a gym. He can tell you exactly what is happening with you, and he can break down the barriers for you and work with you in the way that you specifically need to achieve your fitness goals. That's the person. But now I want you to watch something totally different. Watch what happens when that same guy puts his own business on the table. And here's the thing about how I work. I don't come into this with a plan for his business or for your business. That's not what I do, because I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not here to tell him what to do. I'm here to find the one thing that he can do, because right now, Eric, as we're walking through this journey with him, is standing right in the middle of it. And he generously has allowed us all to see the inside of his process and the mess. You can't read the label from inside the jar. And that's the whole deal. That's the whole thing. Sometimes you need somebody to help you see the things you can't see. So I put Eric's whole business in front of him, all laid out, organized to his face. So let's take a look at what that looks like.
Yeah.
Well over 600 certified pros all over the place
Yep.
for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing in your business that isn't working right now. It's about choosing the direction from multiple the directions.
Sure.
And then naming the first moves towards those things.
Yeah.
So the goal that you had stated is you'd like to get to 100 certifications every single year.
Yeah.
The method, it's your own methodology, and your mission is your mission. Movement for movement, to have fitness understood and prioritized as a life skill while bringing the most effective standards and practices to the forefront of the field.
Yeah.
Additionally, the way that you're doing that is with adaptation to specific populations, and not specifically by bringing your own methodology to people. The methodology is breaking it down to be adapted for the person.
Correct.
Physical, adaptive, cognitive, across the full person, as opposed to one size fits all.
Yeah.
Beautiful. 4 directions that came up when we were talking: scaling the certification, the grant engine site, or the site certification. So this is in person, this is online. Taking a look maybe at your existing audiences, the 2 main audiences that you're working with, building something around them, or maybe a new course or project. Is there anything else that's kind of floating around your mind that's missing?
No, I don't think so.
So what we saw with Eric, first of all, the most important piece is this is me on paper. We all know, if you're as stubborn as I am, then I'm assuming that you know about yourself. I don't like it when people tell me what to do. I really don't like it. But I am absolutely incapable of allowing people to tell me what to do if I don't think that they understand where I'm coming from. I have to be heard and seen first before I'm going to feel comfortable telling you anything, right? When Eric said, this is me on paper, that is like the whole thing. I didn't tell him anything he didn't know. I just handed him his own stuff, his own business organized, so he could look at it from the outside. And that's the whole trick, because of course you know your business better than anyone else. But what happens? He has so many good ideas and so many things that could work and will work, that the challenge becomes choosing between those different options. When we pick wrong, we waste time. But how do we know if we're picking wrong? Well, first, we have to know what we're picking from. And then we have to know what we're picking for. How do I know if it's right or wrong if I'm not sure what I'm trying to build on? So the first step is figuring out the goal. And that's the trap that a good business falls into. The problem, again, is that not that you're out of options, but that you have too many good options and you could do any of them. For Eric, we have 4 solid directions. Any one of them is a real thing that he could work on tomorrow. And he knows what he wants. He wants 100 certified pros a year. So the job is not come up with more ideas. Like, God, no. The job is the opposite thing. Build a filter that is sharp enough to kill 3 of those 4 very valid options. So that, in this case, Eric knows where to put his energy instead of spreading himself thin and spreading himself across all of the options. What happens when we spread ourselves thin? We already know. We don't have infinite capacity. So your capacity is going to dwindle somewhere. So that is the next step. You take each individual direction. This is what we did. We took each individual direction and we ran it through a filter to see what would happen. I just muted myself mid-sentence. So let's take a look at what that looked like in real life for Eric. We do it. Alignment, does it fit the mission? Our filter, 1 through 5. Capacity, can we do it? Market fit, timing, momentum. For the scaling the certification, so literally going out to get more people, where are we at capacity-wise? 1 being weak, 5 being strong.
When you say, so in that perspective, are you talking more marketing or capacity to deliver the course to that many?
So it's a little bit both. Do we have the time, people, energy to do this now?
I'd say a 4.
So there, Eric had a really, really strong question, right? Because he said, okay, capacity, what does that mean? Like, can I actually do the course? Do I have the people? Do I have the marketing in place? Do I have the momentum? Right now, all we're looking at is capacity. Do we have all of the theoretical pieces that we actually need in order to be able to do this thing? So for example, Eric is our example. He wants to reach more certified pros. He already has a course. He already has an audience. He already has certified pros. He already has testimonials. He already has success stories. He already has all of these things. So his capacity is high. If I were talking to Eric 5 years ago and he didn't have a course built out and it just didn't look the way that it looks today, or people got certified differently, or there were fewer people, or he didn't have testimonials, or perhaps his capacity for the same thing would have been decreased. And it's extremely, extremely subjective based on where you are at in your life right now. Ready? This is the moment. We went through the capacity, the filter for all of the 4 different directions. I'm not going to bore you all to death because it's not your strategy call. But this is the moment that everything cracks wide open. So watch Eric land on the actual question, which is like the real question sitting underneath all 4 of those directions. Take a look.
One of my Master Pro candidates right now, who's out in California, she is such a, I'll give you the quick breakdown of who she is. She was a registered behavior technician who loved fitness and sports, was working in a clinic that didn't necessarily appreciate her. She found the Autism Fitness program, took the pro course, went on to take the expert course, started her own small business, but exclusively doing fitness in home for her athletes, left her clinic job, is doing this full time right now.
That's so cool.
I could not pay for a better story than that, because it's one thing, of course, for me to say as the founder of Autism Fitness, hey, yeah, this course is life-changing for the coach or the certified pro and for the athlete. Sure. Can I say that, from a truthful standpoint? Absolutely. Can I say it convincingly? I suppose so. Can she, as someone who's been through the course and an advocate for it and someone who literally left her job and started her own business from it? Yes. So the question is, how do I, find 80 of those people a year? They're out there. That's the question.
So you can see that Eric lands on market fit as his primary challenge here, which is very, very, very correct. He has the capacity. He has the alignment. He knows that this is what people want. He knows that he wants to scale to 100 people a year. What he's asking is, where are those people? Okay. And if you caught that, the filter, just the standard vision filter. And by the way, if you're watching this, that is our standard free, you can use it yourself vision filter. Okay. You don't get me and my analysis in my brain, but you can use the exact same filter that we use as part of our diagnosis. The filter found the actual problem, and it's not what we would have guessed. So often from the outside, and as business people, we know this. Somebody is going to come into our business and try and figure out what's going wrong and try and sell us something that they want to sell us. In the case of a course, the majority of people are going to try and come in and rebuild your course, or they're going to slap an ad on top of it, or they're going to whatever. They're going to tell you what the problem is. Here with Eric, the problem is not his program, right? The man has rebuilt the thing 5 times. It's airtight. It's not that he can't handle the volume. He can run 5 classes of 20 people a year without breaking a sweat. He has way more capacity than that. And he literally told us that, right? It's not the delivery. That's not the problem. He's already crossed all of that off himself. So imagine Eric is going to somebody and saying, I want more people in my course. And what they tell him to do is to tighten or to rebuild or to expand his capacity. He's already solved all of those issues. The real thing, the real challenge that he has is the person that he needs is not a needle in a haystack. It's a needle. I think Eric said a needle in a box of needles. It's a niche inside a niche, because it's somebody who is specifically looking for autism appropriate fitness training, which means that they're already niched down to fitness. Half the time, that person who's looking for him isn't even looking for him yet. And on top of that, the person who needs this fitness training usually isn't even the one writing the check. It's the parent or the school or the gym or the something. It's a program director. That's the thing that we needed to identify on this call. And that's what we spent the next little bit talking about. The filter found it in like 90 seconds. The thing is, who are like the people that I already have find me when I'm in the person who need the service so that I can serve them directly and correctly. And I mean, I think that that's a problem that all of us struggle with to a certain extent. All right. This particular line is sharpest line in the whole session. So just let it land. Okay. Give me a second.
But if you're on the peripheral, I'm looking for a program that is going to enable me to implement effective, strength-based fitness programs for the autism population. If you're searching that, you will find I'm going to type strength training for autism. If you're not doing that, then what are you looking for? How does the person who's here's the weird question. How's the person who's almost thinking about me find me?
And that's really the question for all of us, right? How does the person who is almost thinking about me find me? Here's the cool thing about that. That's the strength of the strategy session. That's your question. That is the question that you need to answer. How does the person who is almost thinking about me find me? And that question applies to all of us who have some sort of educational gap in our business, right? If you are a tax preparer, the person who is almost thinking about you is somebody who has taxes to file, but it's January. All you have to do is wait for the calendar to keep ticking, and then April will come, and then they're to really think about you. And then they'll search for tax preparers in the area, and then they will, find you. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So what Eric is saying is, if somebody is looking for certification for autism fitness, they are definitely going to find him. What about people who are Googling normal search terms? Okay. So here's the part that becomes really, really helpful. Everyone thinks that a strategy session means you walk out with a bigger to-do list, but it's actually the opposite. If you walk out with a long to-do list, that's a bat. That's not good at all. that means that we didn't solve any problems. And it means that you're like going to find more information. And it means that you're going to like search for more things. No, we don't need any of that. What we are looking for steps right now. Half of the value, probably way more than half the value, is the stuff you get to cross off your list. So this is where a lot of other people's advice comes in. People really want the best for us, and they really want us to be able to do what we're doing to the best of our ability. They want to give us advice. They just want to help in general. And often, I don't know, we get pushed in a direction that's out of alignment with ourselves, with our business, with our goal, because it's what people tell us we're supposed to do. So watch Eric kill the thing that everybody in his world swears he's supposed to be doing. And he doesn't kill it on a vibe. He kills it with actual data and what's actually in front of him. So let's take a look at that and see how that works.
I even had someone do an analysis. Ironically enough, it was someone who wanted to do consulting for me, not with me, but consulting for me. And they actually produced a great analysis for me, which it was really powerful because the results of it were like doing, paid on Google or wherever. They're like, yeah, it's not your lead per dollar spend is not going to work favorably for you, and it never will. And it was a relief for me too, because I think like 10 years ago, I would have said like, oh, that sucks, and let me find another way, or maybe somebody else. I'm like, good, one less thing to spend money on that's not going to bring me, more people.
That's like a little bit crazy because everyone should do ads, right? Like, of course, I have to reach out to people. I have to go put myself in front of them and make sure that they find me, right? But what Eric said was, it was a relief. That's what a good no feels like. It doesn't feel like you're losing an option. It feels like you're getting your time and your attention back. That's the call and the analysis that he had with a marketing specialist working for him and not just piling more stuff onto his plate. Because if somebody had wanted to do consulting for him, then you can sell anyone anything. All I need to do is tell you that you have a specific problem that I can solve with some sort of service that I'm trying to sell you. And it's not necessarily what you need. So here, Eric trusted his gut. But as you heard him say, it took him several years to get to a point where he was able to say, okay, great, cool. I don't need to focus on that. I need to put my time somewhere where it's more valuable. And that felt good to him instead of feeling all over the place. Okay. Pausing for a second for questions in the meantime. All right, cool. So by the end of this, there's no 47-step plan. There is one direction, one single direction. And my favorite part of the whole thing is that it's not my direction. It's his direction. So let's listen to where Eric landed with where he wants to take things. Say the direction out loud. The next 90 days, the one direction is, this is the hard part.
Building up that pro course.
Building up the pro course in terms of amount of people.
But yeah, continuing to funnel people into that pro course.
Love it. Who needs to hear that from you? Anybody?
A larger section of the audience that I already have. Well, a larger section of the lookalike audiences to those I already have.
In terms of your team or people around you, you are the one who needs to commit to this direction. Does anybody else need to get on board?
I think it needs to be easy, not easier. What is most powerful are the pros that I already have sharing their stories, and some of them are really good with it. When I say sharing, obviously it's going to be, social media or word of mouth also, because I do get those. But I think it's them sharing their stories more and having the confidence to do so.
So, Eric, I cut out a bunch of this, but it was probably like a 90-second pause before Eric stated his direction out loud. When you are deciding on a singular decision in your own words, that's a big step. That's like where the whole thing culminates. And one of the interesting things is when I asked him who needs to know about this, like, is there anyone on your team? Is there anyone here? Is there anyone there? He said, no, I'm not trying to complicate anyone's life. Let's keep it simple. The people who need to know and the people who I can reach out to right now are the existing pros. So what are the 3 steps that I can do tomorrow that will help me in that goal? And Eric walked out with those 3 steps that he can do tomorrow. The cool part is that when all of this is done, he gets a strategy brief, which I will tell you about and maybe even show you a sneak peek of in a second. In the 60 minutes that I sat with Eric, we chose one singular direction. Not every strategy call looks that way because some businesses are not quite as streamlined as his. But every single one ends with one direction. And notice what we did not do. We didn't change a single thing about a business that already works. And that's the thing that really, really frustrates me the most, and I think frustrates a lot of people the most. Stop trying to come into my business and tell me new things that I need to be doing and changing stuff and doing different things. And stop it. Stop. This is my business. This is the way I built it. This is what I want it to look like. I don't want you to come in and change things that are already working. I don't want you to add anything new. What we did was we found the one door worth building. And by the way, it wasn't even a door that needed to be built. It just needs to be widened a little bit so that all of the people who already walked through the door can bring in the next ones. How exactly are we going to do that? That's more of a strategy brief question. But that is the question. There is no other question that is going to solve the problem here. That's what this is. It's not a pile of new stuff to do. It's the one thing that actually moves the needle, pulled out from all of the noise. Could he build a new course? For sure. Would that solve his getting to 100 certified pros a year goal? Absolutely not. There's no correlation between his actual problem and that proposed solution. In order to know what your actual problem is, you have to actually find the problem. And here it's just more of the right people. So we're broadening the funnel at the top of correct people so that everyone who's getting funneled through has more chance of being correct. Here's what you don't see. That was the call. After the call, which is just an hour, but the call doesn't end when the call ends, if that makes sense. Within 72 hours, Eric gets a full written brief. And that brief goes further than anything that we have in this recording, anything that we could have ever possibly gotten to on this recording. And there's a move in there that is a strategic move, in my opinion, that we didn't talk about on the live. And it requires a shift, but something that could really, really catapult the business to the next level by solving his exact problem. That's the part that nobody gets to see. That's yours. That's the part that nobody watches. And that's where the real work happens. After the strategy, once it moves over to operations of like, okay, how am I actually going to do this thing? That's when the work starts. But all of the fun part, the figuring out what is actually going on, it's not particularly fun for a lot of people. Some people find it really boring or tedious or long-winded or pedantic. I love all of those things. Data is your protection against any type of misinformation. And when you are a founder, an entrepreneur, and to a large extent, you're setting parts of your own direction, you need to collect your own data so that you can be reliant on what actually works for and with you and not on what other people have done in the past or what historically has worked for others, which may work very well for you and it may not. Who knows? But Your business is as unique as you are, and the challenges in your business are as unique as you are. Now, every single one of us is a unique makeup of all kinds of things. And also, there is nothing new under the sun. If you've had this challenge, someone else has had this challenge or something similar. There is always a way forward. There is always a solution. There is always a path. It might not be the most comfortable path or the shortest path, but there is always a path that exists. And by providing yourself and arming yourself with your own data, you are increasing the chances and the likelihood of building success according to your own terms and not what somebody else has decided on your behalf. We have 18 minutes left. I want to open it up. Whatever you are chewing on, this is your opportunity to drop it in the chat, to shoot us a message. What's going on? What are you working on? And then team, if we have any questions, we can send it in here through the chat. What has been keeping you stuck? What is the thing that people have been telling you that you must do? What is the thing that you totally disagree with that everyone is insisting on? What's going on? Okay, cool. Here's a question. How is this different from just hiring a business coach or consultant? Yeah, good question. Love that question. Yeah. A coach, by design, asks you questions and waits for you to find the answer. A consultant, by design, shows up and tells you what to do. I don't do either of those things. This is the space between that. This is the space of, I just need to sit down and talk to ChatGPT or talk to Claude and figure it out. But ChatGPT and Claude are not people. Fortunately, we do have people who have similar thought processes to the way that our LLMs work, like me. I'm not going to sit there asking you and how does that make you feel about your business? Although I am a trained social worker, how does that make you feel? Or in Hebrew, the way they taught us, where does that meet you? Where does that land for you? I don't care. Sorry. I mean that with all the love in the world. I literally don't care. That's not my job. You need somebody who's going to help you with your feelings. You go to a therapist, you go to a coach, you go to your mommy. I'm none of those things. And I'm not going to walk in pretending that I know your business better than you know your business. Because while there is, of course, expertise to be relied on, expertise is not everything, especially not in a changing business world. And the expert on you and your life and your business and your why and your vision is always going to be you. So I'm never going to come in and pretend like I know you better than you know you. That's so annoying. What I do is I take everything that's already in your head, or the things that are in your head but you didn't know were in your head, or the connections that have yet to be made but all the data points are there, all of it, all of the mess, and I hand it back to you organized so you can see the one thing that you couldn't see from inside. And you saw it happen to Eric in real time. Yeah, he didn't learn anything new about his business. I didn't tell him anything that he didn't know. By showing him that I understood, we were able together to pinpoint the one thing that is blocking him. It's a mirror. It's not advice, because the mirror is clear. We don't need a mirror on the wall. I can look in the mirror and see myself. I don't need you to talk to me. If the mirror is all broken and in a million pieces, you look in the mirror, you're not going to see yourself clearly. So it's more about gluing the mirror together than giving you advice, if that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much for that question. I think we have time for one or two more. Okay, here's one I got this morning. What do I send over? How do I know what to send over? What if my stuff is all over the place? I don't have it organized enough to hand over. This is something I hear literally all the time. Yeah, let me just put it together for you and then I'll send it to you. Don't do that for two reasons. One, you are putting another task in your way that's going to delay you and make you not send it to me. Any additional steps in the process make the process more difficult, make it more likely that you're not going to adhere to the process. I'm assuming you have ADHD or that you're just an overwhelmed person. Generally speaking, the more steps there are, the more difficult it is to follow a process. So fewer steps. You don't have to organize it. In terms of what the heck do I send? Everything. Anything and everything that you want to send. Output from ChatGPT, Google Docs, pictures of Post-its. I've had people send me voice notes from their partners before, pictures of like napkins with notes on them. Literally anything. Anything. Any data is data. It doesn't matter what format the data is in. And any data in any format can be extracted and compared and compiled with other data. Data is just data. And I think that there's a question underneath this that people aren't asking, but really what they're saying is, I'm embarrassed. My shit's a mess. Can I tell you guys a secret? My shit's also a mess. It's less of a mess than it was when I started, but it's still messier than it's going to be next year or the year after that. None of us know what we're doing at any given time ever. We're all just out here doing our best. And if somebody can assist you with that and support you in that, there is absolutely no shame in taking that support. Okay, y'all, one more question. What do we got? Oh, okay. Interesting one. All right. The question is, okay, say we do the call and you find the thing. Then what? Am I on my own to actually go do it or what? That's a really good question. So the way that things work at Allisto in general is there are 3 phases. The first phase is where you meet me. Hi, I'm Abby. Nice to meet you. That phase is strategy. In the strategy phase, we answer the question, what the hell is going on? That is the only question we're trying to answer. What? Once we know what is going on, we also know what is missing. Cool. Once we know what is missing, then we already move the needle the most. Cool. All of that happened. You saw all of that. Comes out in the strategy brief. When the strategy brief is done, then what? Either you move forward and you do your own thing. You take the strategy and you have a better idea of what's going on in your business, and that's cool. Or you move on to operations. In Allisto, moving on to operations means that we're taking the what is going on right now and we translate it into how are we going to do this, right? Because we looked at all of the what is going on and we figured out what are the gaps and we figured out what is the most important next step. And we figured out what the singular action is going to be that moves the needle. And the next question is, cool, now I know what that thing is. How the hell do I do that? And when you move on to operations, that's where they put the actual plan together. That's admin operations, system operations, operational operations, and marketing operations. Putting the actual step-by-step plan together of how are you going to get from here to there, okay? And then if you need further support with the actual doing, cool, I know how to get there, but like I need to actually get there. I need more hands. I need more feet. I need more help. That's where the execution comes in. So at Allisto, when you're working with us, you're always working top down. We start with strategy. Once we figure out what's going on, we figure out where the gaps are. We move on to operations. We figure out how we're going to plug those gaps. Now, if you need actual support and assistance plugging the physical gaps, cool, you'll move on to execution. And in the process, you get what you needed. Let's bang an operations person. They're amazing on the ground. And they just needed a clearer overview of the strategy. So come in for strategy and stop. So you have a bang-in virtual assistant, and they are way, way willing to execute on anything that you give them. But you haven't given them a plan yet. So then you need strategy and you need operations, and then you can hand it over to your own VA. There's nothing that's going to lock you into the process once you start the process. The steps are designed to each serve a different need that you have in your business and that you have like right now in your life. Yeah, what do I do next? Cool. Whatever you want, pretty much, because you're in control, because it's your business, because you're the founder, because nobody else gets to tell you what goes on there except for you. You're the boss, man. So be the boss. And in order to be the best boss that you can be, you have to equip yourself with the tools that you need to do it. The number one tool that you need is clarity. If you don't have clarity, you're out of luck. because no one is going to know if you don't know. That's the strategy call, y'all. That's a little bit of a sneak peek into the vision piece of the strategy call and how we choose a singular direction and a singular next step when we're trying to move the needle. If you are interested in a strategy call, cool. We would love to hear from you. Shoot me an email, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. You can call me. You can shoot me a contact form on our website. You can always book in with an AVHT time if you want to just chit chat. You can always book in for a discovery call if you need just a little bit more information and you're looking for some concrete next steps forward. Whatever the next move is, prioritize your clarity. Everything comes from that. That's my time, y'all. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you for taking this time on a Wednesday or whenever it is that you're catching the replay to spend this time with me and to take a look at the vision framework and the strategy call process. If you want to run the vision framework for yourself, you should definitely do that. We have that free resource for you, and it will be in links, places. Check the caption. I'm sure there's some interesting stuff for you right there. No matter what you do something. You are worth it. And it is worth the time that it takes to take your own advice and not only rely on the advice of others, because you know best for you at the end of the day. See y'all next time. Thank you so much for being here.